My desk space was in a dire need of a makeover, super messy, nowhere to put my things, so I went ahead and made a Murphy desk, especially because this is in our bedroom, so I didn't want to see my work stuff. I will have this link down below, but how we made this Murphy desk, we followed the plans on Shanty Chic, so I'll link this exact plan. And they used a chalkboard, which we are actually just going to do a picture instead, but yes, I followed this plan, tweaked it based off of the sizes that I needed. It's really nice because they give you a cut list and how you should install each piece. I did have to tweak it because I made mine much bigger, so just keep that in mind. Don't mind the mess, but we are going to take some measurements so that we can figure out how big we need to make the Murphy desk so that a lot of this stuff has a home and it won't look like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure this up and see what we get. Okay, this was a lot of math for me, so we'll see if any of this actually works out. But what I did was, based off of the plans, I took my measurements and I subtracted it by what they had for their measurements of the main box and figured out what the difference was. So 8.75 for the width and 1.375 for the height. And so then every other cut that they gave me here, I added that difference. So hopefully these numbers will end up being right. And I also knew that I wanted the height of my desk to be at 29 inches. So that's something that I needed to figure out because this part is like 3 inches smaller than the actual frame itself. So I had to make sure this was a right width and height to be able to give me the right height of desk as well. Then my materials, figured out the total inches I needed and how many feet, and then figuring out how many pieces of wood. So we'll find out if I have to go back to the hardware store, but hopefully not. If you end up doing it exactly how we're doing it, these are the materials we got so far. I don't know if we'll need more, but so far we have 2 1x10 by 6, 3 1x8 by 6, 3 1x2 by 6, 2 1x3 by 6. So that's what we have so far. Okay, so this is the nerve-wracking part of the project where we start to make the cuts, and I just really hope that I did everything right. I'm just getting a little nervous that everything will come together and we don't waste a bunch of material. So hopefully it will work out. Wayne is going to be doing a lot of the cutting, so it's his fault if we have to get more wood because he cut it wrong. And then I'm going to be doing the pocket holes. So we're kind of getting it into a conveyor belt system here.
Yeah, I've been known to make a miscut once or twice.
Okay, if you use the same materials as we're using, we have 3/4 of an inch width of material. So we're gonna set the drill bit to 3/4 and we're gonna set the thickness here to 3/4 as well. For the 1x10s, we are cutting this into 4 pieces, so 2 at 31 inches and 2 at 34.5. From there, we are taking the 2 inside, so the 31-inch boards, and adding 3 pocket holes to both ends of the board. make things easy, we sanded as we went just to get everything done all at once. Back to using our 90-degree clamps. So now I'm just connecting the outer shell, so all of the 1x10s with those pocket holes. The screws we used were Craig jig screws, and they were 1 1/4 inch. Super exciting. We have now made a box. Just remember to always add wood glue in each joint. So right now we are adding that support beam. So there's one at the top and bottom of the outer box. It's a 1x3. So you're going to do 2 pocket holes, 1, 2, 3 in the middle, and then 2 on the other side for those support beams. Now I'm using our 1x8s to create a shelf inside of our outer shell. However, I want to make sure all of my things fit. So right now I am just measuring how deep we want that shelf to be so that I can add this basket and my pencil holders. We wanted to make sure this shelf was flush and square, so we're using the speed square to make sure everything is straight, using a level to make sure it's nice and flush and straight. And then we are going to attach 3 pocket holes on either side of that shelf. Alright, let's see how this shelf turned out. Not bad. Look at that. Ooh, I'm so excited. Now you're just going to use a 1x2 to create the stopper for the door, so when the door closes, it has a way to stop and keep everything flush. I'm just using a brad nail and nailing it a few times in there. Okay, so we cut the 1x8s all at 31.5 and added 5 pocket hole screws so that we can attach them all together. And now this is going to be our tabletop. So just grabbing some glue and then attaching it with those pocket hole screws. I'm going to go ahead and sand it just to make this a little bit more flush. Some of those pieces were a little bit warped. We are going to be trimming out the tabletop bottom, so where the pocket holes are, we are trimming it out with 1x2s, and we're just going to nail them in. Now that the box is completely done, I'm going to go ahead and put a protected paint on it. So polyacrylic, Minwax, little coat. We've created this outside piece, brad nail, and glued it. And I will give you those measurements. And then now what we're doing is working on these inside pieces. So I'm going to pocket hole these so that we can attach it to this, because this is going to be our leg that comes out for the table. Alright, so I did kind of leave you guys hanging yesterday, but that is because I got super frustrated. And it took me and Wayne quite some time to figure out how to add these hinges on. And then I was frustrated that you can see the hinges, because I was really hoping this would be more of a sleek look, make it look like more of a frame. But we figured it out. Well, I'll show you how we attach these piano hinges for each one. And then we obviously have this wood filler covering up the brad nails, and then I'm going to sand it down. Also, this isn't a perfect fit, so it's pretty tight right here. Like, this is supposed to slide out, so I'm going to sand this down a little bit to make that easier too. So one hinge is actually going to be attached to the 1x2, that's the outer frame, and then it's going to be attached to the top of the leg portion, which is the 1x3. And then for the tabletop, it's actually going to be connected to the bottom of the tabletop and then the top of the outer box frame. To the tedious process of putting on the protective coat. This is the second layer. Again, going for that natural wood look for now. I might end up staining it later on, but I wanted it to be light and bright in the room for now, especially because the artwork that we're putting on it is kind of dark. But second coat on, waiting for it to dry, and then we'll close it up and I'll do a little bit more touch up, and then we should be able to install. You can totally skip this step. My artwork was too small for the opening, so I am cutting this poster board so that it kind of looks like a matting for the picture once I add it in. But if you find something that fits the space, or if you wanted to do some artwork of your own that's custom sizing, you can do that too. Now it is time to move everything out of the way and install the new piece. I'm so excited. Okay, for installing, make sure that you're putting it at the height of your actual leg of your table, otherwise your tabletop is not going to be straight or level. And then we went ahead and found our studs. We had 2 studs that we were able to screw into, and we did 3-inch screws into the stud. We also used an extra piece of wood to prop it up at the proper height, so that Wayne only had to hold it on the other end. If it's just you, you can obviously get 2 pieces of wood, and that should help out quite a bit. After we did that, we installed these push magnets, so all you have to do is push on them and it will release the top of the table. And let's see how it turned out. So this is the space before, really cluttered, not a lot of areas for me to store my stuff, and just kind of tucked in the corner here. So now we have this where I can hide everything after my workday is over, and it looks like a nice piece of artwork. Loved how this turned out. It was a full day of working, definitely maybe 2, so it's a weekend project for sure, but I do love how custom it is and how it fits everything that I need for work perfectly.